Hi everyone, hope you guys are doing great. In today's video, we are going to continue working on our ASP.NET Core eShop application, in which we have completed a couple of things. And today we'll be further refining the things and moving to the entity framework. So without further ado, let's move to the app. So just to give you an overview of how we have developed. So let me just quickly show you. We have created a controller having an index section. Then we have created a couple of models. We do have created a service interface, and we have created a view model, a catalog, and a catalog index, as well as a pagination. So now let's move forward. Let me try to run it and see what happens if we try to run it. So quickly you can see it says unable to resolve service for type this, because what is actually happening, we haven't created this catalog service. So let's just stop this, and now we are going to add a service. So let me just add a new class over here. I'm going to name it catalog services. So catalog service is going to be a new class, and what it is going to do, it is going to implement my catalog service. So with this, let's just quickly do one thing. Ask it to do what I'm trying to say. Okay, we are going to quickly implement this interface. What it is going to do, we do not have to type the definitions once again. It will create the default methods with throw new exception. So over here we have our catalog services. One thing which I think I might have done or not. So let me just quickly see to that. Okay. So with our service being created, you can see still we don't have the implementation, but we do have the service over here. So let's move further. One more thing that we need to do, we need to go to our Program.cs file, and we need to add services. We need to add a service over here. Builder.services dot add transient, and for this catalog service we are suggesting that this catalog service class will be used. Basically this is to mention which class is going to be used for this abstract implementation. So this class instance is going to be injected. So let's try to run it now. Don't expect that it will be working fine right now, but I just want to show what sort of things we are going to face. So what actually happens, the class that we have created, so it's being injected, and the method that we are calling is getting called. But what actually happens, we do not have a complete implementation, or we haven't done the implementation. So let's move forward with the implementation over here. Okay, before doing the implementation, let me do one more thing, because in this implementation we will be trying to get the data from database, and for that database we need to have our entity framework being set up and running. So let me just do one thing. Let me just create a folder named infrastructure. See if I can. Let's show a file, and we might have an infrastructure folder. So let me just include it in the present. Okay, so I've added infrastructure folder, and I'm going to add a class. And the class name is going to be CatalogContext. The reason I'm adding this catalog context, because in entity framework there is a DbContext which take care of all the database models and the database tables, each and everything. So we need to have a database context which we are going to use in our application. So basically this is a simple class, and what we are going to do, this class is going to help from DbContext. Okay, so what we are trying to do, we're trying to add DbContext, but you can see over here there is no existing package being installed. So let's install entity framework core, because we are going to use this framework. So let me just try to add it. Let's just open the package manager, and it is going to search for the entity framework core. So let me just install this one. One more thing that you can do, you can navigate via tools and then go to the NuGet package manager, and then you can go over here. If you need to search and then install, you can use this one. And if you have exec commands available with you, so you can use package manager console. So now I'm trying to get it installed via this. So this being done, and let's see what fix it's suggesting. So with this DbContext, you can see over here, it's part of this namespace entity code framework. So we have mentioned using over here, and then we are going to proceed with the constructor. So let's just add a constructor, and in that we mention like DbContext option. So it will provide certain options that could be injected, and then options, and over here you can see base options. So what actually happens when this constructor has been called, it will pass these options to the base class, which is actually this DbContext. So with this constructor over here, let's just move forward. One more thing, I'm just removing this parameter less constructor, and what I'm going to do over here, I'm going to create a DbSet. So DbSet of catalog item. If you can recall, catalog item was a model. Let me just try to navigate this, and you can see over here within the model we do have catalog item, CatalogBrand, and the CatalogType. So we are trying to create a DbSet, and I'm going to name it catalog items having a get set. So you can think of this acting as a table within the database, and using this we are going to query all the data from the database. Somewhat similar, on a similar lines, we need to create a DbSet for catalog brand and catalog type. Catalog brand, And then we need a catalog, DbSet, and catalog type. So now we are going to override a method. So this method which we are going to override is named as onModelCreating. So you can see an onModelCreating method, which is actually part of DbContext. If we can navigate and see, this is the main class, and let's see if there is a definition, if it allows us to quickly navigate. Let's see. Okay, so you can see over here, like there was an internal virtual void on model creating model builder. So we are trying to override this over here. And inside that, what we are trying to do, we are trying to use the builder. Let's call this simply a builder rather than a model builder. And we are going to call the builder entity. And we are talking about the catalog brand entity first. And to configure that, we are going to provide a method name. I'll tell you how it's going to work, but for the time being, just follow along with me. So we are going to configure this catalog brand entity using this method, and it's going to be configure. Okay. And further, we have catalog type, and I would say this is configure catalog type. And for the second one, I would call it configure catalog item. So with this being done, let's just create these methods. These are going to be simple, like I would simply copy this method name over here. And this is going to take entity type builder of the same catalog brand which we're talking about. And again, it's going to be called builder. So using this method, we are going to configure each and everything which we are going to do inside this. Just for the sake of removing these errors, let me just quickly do one thing. Let me just copy this, and I'm going to call this here. Just to this is going to be the type. So let me just copy this, and just for one more thing, let me do this for catalog item, and I'm going to call it catalog item. So in this method, you can see over here all the errors have been removed, and within the catalog brand, I'm going to use the builder, and I'm going to mention the table name. So it's going to be to table. I think some specific library is missing, so just give me a minute. So let's try to find out. Let me just go to the Nougat package manager, and there used to be a design package manager as well. So let me just install that and see if it fixes what we are trying to achieve. So just bear with me. And it's being installed, and what we are trying to do. No, it's not table. There are a couple of other movement packages, and one is relational as well. Let me add that as well. Going back to this. Okay, so you can see within the builder, now we can add a table name. So basically, this is sort of a additional method that's part of the Nugget package manager, the relational one. So what we are trying to do over here for this specific entity, we are going to map it to a table name within the database. So it's going to be catalog brand. Okay. Then we have builder dot has key. This key is the key which you are going to specify for the table. So this is going to be very simple. Dot ID. One is that, and the builder dot property. So it goes to CB goes to cb.id, and what we are going to do for SQL Server So again, you can see we need to use, like, for SQL Server, use hello. So this is again missing. We need one more Nugget package manager as we are going to use SQL Server. So let me install that as well. I'm doing it one by one rather than quickly installing all the Nugget package managers. This way you are not able to grasp which is being like referencing for what. So that's the reason I'm adding it one by one. So with SQL Server over here, so let's just try to use below. Yeah, you can see. So we have this Hello being used rather than SQL Server. Hello as part of new library within new .NET framework. This method have been changed. So let's use Hello. This is a sequence which have been like used by SQL Server to generate specific IDs. So let's just call this sequence uh, CatalogBrand Hello. And then we are going to mention, like, is it required? Yes. Is it required? Is required. And what else? We need one more property. And this time, this property is going to be named brand. And this brand is again is required. Yes. And we are going to set a max length, has max length of 100. So what is actually going to happen within this table? There is one ID field and one brand field, and it do have a maximum length of 100. So on a similar lines, we are going to create sorry okay, so moving forward, what we are going to do here on a similar lines, we are going to do it like to table, and this table we are going to name it catalog type, and this again is going to have a key. Just for the sake of change, we can use like CT. The builder is going to have a property as well, and the property is going to be again we are going to use ILO pattern, again over here, and the sequence, this time the sequence name is going to be different. It's going to be catalog underscore type underscore IO, and it's again required. Then we are going to call the builder property, and this is going to be ct goes to ct dot type. So this is again required, and this is going to be have a max length of 100. So you can see over here, like we already have defined a model. So if you can navigate, you can see this model is already there, and once we are trying to use this, so both these fields are part of the model. So having that being said, let's move to the our last table. Now, last table, we again need to do this table. This table, we are going to call it catalog. This time, we are not using the catalog item. We are using catalog only. So we are keeping catalog. Then the builder property, we are going to name is CI catalog item. Again, it's going to be ID. And for the ID, we are going to use high-low. Which I need to change just to the property, and then we are going to use this property is going to use high-low. Okay, and within that, the catalog is going to be catalog underscore high-low. So as this is going to be a catalog only, so this is that, and we will be using is required. Moving forward, the builder do have other property. The name is going to be ci.name. Then we do have is required true, and then we have as a max length. For name, we are keeping the max length to 50, and then we need a price as well. So we are going to call this price, and price is also required. So we are keeping this true, and then we have a picture URI. What if you can recall? Let me just quickly show you. So if you can see over here in this project or repo that we are referring to, there is a picture URL picture as well. So for that, we'll be requiring a picture URI as well. So moving further, let's just add a property. And this is going to be the property name is going to be, I'm going to call it picture URI. So picture URI is there, and this is not required. So I'll be keeping false for this. And the rest of the properties that we need, just one thing, if you can see, basically the previous two tables were simple table, like having an ID and a name. But this table, the catalog itself, do have a name, price, and a picture URI. But one more thing that it's going to have is it is going to have a reference as well. So a foreign key is being used over here. So you will get to know. Let me just do it over here. So We are going to use has one, and then we are going to call ci.CatalogBrand. So what is actually happening? We are establishing a relation with the catalog brand. And what is the foreign key? Foreign key is going to be catalog brand ID. Same is going to happen with catalog type. Let me just has one, and then we are going to have catalog type over here, and with many has foreign key, and then we are going to have ci dot catalog brand ID. No, this is going to be type ID. So with this being done, we have our context class ready. With this being done, we now need to move to the actual implementation that we need to do. And let's just go to the catalog service. And within that catalog service, what we are going to do, we are going to inject this context. So what we are going to do, we are going to create a public catalog service. And what else we are going to do? We are trying to inject the catalog context. And this is going to be the context. And we are trying to set a private variable to this. Now let's just create a variable. And this is going to read only. So we have created a read only context field. Just one thing, if you are not already aware of this, the reason we have created this as a read only field, this field can only be set during the constructor. So if I try to set it up any other function or somewhere else, it won't allow. So this read only is keeping this fields to be modified anywhere in other code. So this is sort of a constraint. So hopefully you get to know this as well. And the reason I'm touch basing these concepts, because as you move along, you will be getting to know how things are working and what's the reason behind using such type of thing and why we haven't used this. So let's move forward with having catalog service available. Now what we need to do, we need to move, and let's just move to this one. Yeah, and let's try to implement this. Let's set a variable root. This is going to be I curable. We are going to return I curable of catalog items. Catalog items. I curable of catalog item. This, what we are going to do from the context, we are going to get these catalog items. If I can quickly show you or navigate, so you can see this DbContext, which I've told you that this is going to map the database table. So we are just trying to reference this using the root. So once moving further, if type id dot has value, the reason we are doing this, if the type id is there, so we can, like on that root, we can implement this where clause. So with where, we can further filter out the things like this. I can quickly show you. ci.catalog type ID, catalog type ID, which is going to be equal to type ID value. So if this value which have been passed over here, if it do have value, we are further filtering it out. And then if we move forward, same is the case with the brand ID. And just to paste up this thing, I'm trying to copy it, and you can see the brand ID over here, like brand ID, and over here we need to use the brand ID. So this is again a filter on top of that. And what we are trying to do, we are trying to get hold of the total items, which is we can use like on this route, we can call along count async. This is going to get all the items, total items. And then we are going to implement items on item on page, which is using await. Again, we are going to await. And this time, what we are trying to do on route, we will try to escape. Escape basically escapes those I would say records which we are not interested in. Like if we are doing paging, we are trying to get specific records. So using escape, we can get the relevant records rather than all the records. So let's just implement escapes page, and with this being multiplied with the page index. So with page index being there, and let's just take items page, and what else we need to get a async list. So with this we have our items. And one more thing we are going to do, items on page, we are going to create a method picture URI. It's like items on page, and I'll quickly show you what this method is going to do. Let's just do one thing. Let's just create a simple method. So what is actually doing, you can see over here, this is just a method which we haven't implemented as of yet. And what we are going to do further, we are going to return the catalog, which we already have over here. Now once we get the catalog, we are going to pass the data, the items on page, and for the page index we are going to pass on the page index, and for the count, the total number of count, what we are going to do, we are going to pass this total items. And let's just this. Okay, for the sake of this, let me just quickly show what we are trying to achieve over here. We are going to pass this, and for each item we are going to replace our base URL with a predefined placeholder. So let's just quickly see what is actually happening over here. Let's just define var base URI. Base URI is supposed to be pulled from settings, but just for the sake of simplicity, I'm keeping it sort of a hard-coded one. And just to showcase you what it's going to do. And then on the items, let's just call items. So we have the items, and then for each is being applied. And on the for each, what we are trying to do, just okay. We need to use the for each, and within the for each, what we are trying to do, we are trying to use not this one. Just give me a minute. And this is supposed to get, I think I'm missing something. This is supposed, yeah, one thing which I'm doing wrong over here. This is going to be this. Let me just remove that one. And over here, it's going to be x dot, what else I'm missing? Yeah, one thing which I missed over here, like it is going to be x goes to, and then we are going to use x dot, and this time we are going to use the picture URI is equals to x dot picture URI, and we are going to do a replace of the placeholder that we have. So we are going to call this catalog base URL to be replaced, and this is going to be replaced with a base URI. Okay, so we have our compose method, and once we are done with this, we are going to return the items. So with this being done, we have been left with this being done. Let's just try to build and see if it's running fine. So far, what we have done, we haven't achieved that much, but we have done one thing, like we have implemented a concrete implementation of this service, and we have created a context. Still, there is much more remaining, but I think we have like reached more than 30 minutes. So just to keep the video short, I'll be discussing the rest of the items in the next video. So thanks for watching. So if you still feel like something needs to be explained in more detail, or there is something missing or something else you want me to like discuss and go in more detail, so feel free to add it in the comments. Do like the video and share with the people who are interested in learning ASP.NET Core web-based applications. And if you think anything is missing or anything else needs to be added, feel free to share it in the comments. So thank you for watching. See you in the next video.